people who are excited for Joe, or even mildly excited, or kind of indifferent, just because Joe Biden spends a lot of money doesn't mean they'll make it out to the polls. And some people might even get so complacent that they don't go out to the polls. They think, oh, Joe Biden raised all this money, or Joe Biden is leading in polling, so it doesn't matter if I go and vote. When the reality is, in some of these swing states and some of these battleground states, it matters a heck of a lot if people vote. Hillary Clinton came very, very close to winning swing states that she lost, devastatingly lost for her. And those votes, getting rid of the hubris, visiting a Wisconsin, spending more time in a Michigan, that could have made a huge, huge difference for the number of votes that she got. That really led to, it could have changed the map if more time had been spent there, and if the campaign hadn't been hubristic. So I'm seeing a lot of that happening with Joe Biden and his supporters. So they have all of this money now. Everyone's excited about that. That's on the Joe Biden camp. But that doesn't equal winning. Let's dive into some of the polling here. That's the same tweet. So 538, say what you will about Nate Silver, and I have a lot of opinions about Nate Silver, but they do a good job of aggregating polls. So who's ahead in the national polls? Of course, as we know, it is Joe Biden. So the accumulation of polls, he is up 7.4 points, with Biden at 50.3% and Trump at 42.9%. So if you look at all of the polls, and these are the most recent, you can see that YouGov has Biden up by 11, and on and on. Other polls have him at different positions. Some of these polls are very, very close to being within the margin of error, and that's something that's important to pay attention to. Just because a poll says this, Biden at this number, Trump at this number, there's still a margin of error to take into account, and they are different for each study or different for each poll. So it's extremely important to not take these polls at face value. Not only that, but nationwide polling in general doesn't really matter for our country. Our country is ridiculous. We have the Electoral College. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. She won the popular vote. She got more votes than Donald Trump. There's no disputing that at all. And if our country wasn't so backwards and stuck in this electoral college system, she would be president right now. But she's not, because we have the Electoral College. We have these swing states. We have these battleground states that really, really, really matter because of our system. So people can get complacent or happy or however they're feeling on the Biden side, but the national polling means next to nothing. Not only are we so far out away from the election still that none of the polls tell us anything, really, when you consider how far away we are, and anything can happen. One of the candidates could fall ill. One of the candidates could do something even more ridiculous than they're already doing. A disaster could happen. Anything could happen. They're talking now about Donald Trump trying to get this vaccine, this COVID vaccine out in early November. So anything could happen to change the polling and to change people's actual votes, to motivate people to go out to vote, or to convince them that it doesn't matter and to stay home. So I don't give much weight to polling in general. I certainly don't give much weight to nationwide polling for the presidential election. It can give us kind of a sense of the direction things are headed in. It can give us some information. The more information we have, the better, certainly. But it is not something to hang your hat on at all. So that's the scary thing that a lot of people are doing. Is like, oh, Joe Biden's way ahead, so none of this matters. So talking about the battleground states, I mentioned Wisconsin. A lot of pundits and polling experts are thinking that Pennsylvania and Florida, and especially Florida, are going to matter a lot come November. So Biden, you remember some of those polls had him up 11 points or 10 points or whatever nationwide. The average was 7 something nationwide. But when you look at this breakdown of the battleground states, the states that actually matter when it comes to the Electoral College, it is not looking good. The spread for battlegrounds overall is only Biden plus 2.5. That's not good. In a lot of polls, that is within the margin of error. Sometimes the margin of error is 4 points. Sometimes it's 5 points. Sometimes it's 3 points. So you just can't declare a victory for Biden at all at this point. You see here, Wisconsin, Biden up by 3.5. North Carolina, Trump up by 1. Florida, Biden up by 3.7. Pennsylvania, Biden up by 4.2. Michigan, Biden up by 2.6. Arizona, Biden up by 2.2. I don't know about you guys, but as someone who wants to see Donald Trump defeated, those numbers terrify me. Again, we have a lot of time between now and Election Day, but if Biden is the Democrats pushed Biden on us. They coalesced around Biden. Everyone dropped out, coalesced around Biden. Obama was pulling strings in the background. The Democratic establishment was pulling strings in the background. I'm not saying they rigged the voting machines. I know some people believe that. I don't have evidence for that. But they did manipulate the conditions that people had available to vote in. They made it so that there was no choice. They didn't give us a true choice. This was not democratically done by any stretch of the imagination. And once Bernie dropped out, that was it. The Democratic Party, the Democratic establishment had made the choice for us. Why did they make this choice for us? Well, obviously it has to do with their pocketbooks. It has to do with how much money they want to make. They don't want a Bernie Sanders in there ruining their money-making schemes. They don't want Bernie Sanders in there making a difference for the people. They want Joe Biden in there. And Joe Biden, or so they told the people, was the most electable. He was the safest. If this is the safest candidate that the Democrats could put forward, then the Democrats need to take a very, very long look inward. The Democrats, which they will never do, need to really assess themselves and their strategy and what they are doing. I don't care if you are a die-hard Biden supporter, if you truly think or thought that he was the safest, that he was the best, that he had the best policies. I don't care. I don't care if you're the most corporate or most establishment of Democratic voters. You need to take a long, hard look at what is happening right now. If defeating Donald Trump is the number one most important thing on your mind, you've screwed it up. You've screwed it up because Biden, in my opinion, will not win. I think Donald Trump is on the path to another victory. Things are way too close and getting closer. Biden is falling in some of these battleground states. It's not looking good. And that's scary. Donald Trump is a scary, scary person. Yeah, Biden, I think, is in cognitive decline. I don't like Biden's policies. I think Biden has done really scummy things and really creepy things. And he's not my candidate, that's for darn sure. But I don't feel like our country is at stake. He's not talking about the next 12 years like Donald Trump is. I'm terrified that Donald Trump will win again. And looking at this polling, everybody who cares about we don't really have a democracy, but our facade of democracy should be absolutely shaking in their boots right now. And that's the problem with the Democrats who are in the elite class, who make their money from political consulting, or who are comfortable white people living in the suburbs or whatever, who it's the hubris. It's the thinking like, we're the smartest, we're the best, we know what's best for the people, everyone needs to do what we're doing, we have this in the bag. Clearly Donald Trump is bad, so people are not going to vote for him. It's the hubris needs to go. The polls are showing you that you don't have it in the bag right now. The polls are showing you that something needs to happen. Joe Biden needs to change his strategy. Joe Biden needs to listen. The campaign needs to listen. Very, very scary. And also, let's see here, 1 second. Also, this went viral today. So speaking of the Electoral College, this is Nate Silver, of course, everybody's favorite failed pollster or poll analyst. Chance of a Biden Electoral College win if he wins the popular vote by X points. So this is, I find, my brain just doesn't work like this. So I had to really stare at this for a while. You probably get it right away. So if Biden is up by 0 to 1 points, the chance of Biden winning is only 6%. So if Biden wins the popular vote by 1 point, he only has a 6% chance of winning due to the Electoral College. That is horrifying, absolutely horrifying. If Biden is up between 1 and 2 points, there's a 22% chance of him winning. If he's up by 2 to 3 points, 46% chance of him winning. He doesn't get over a 50% chance of winning until he's 3 to 4 points in the popular vote ahead of Donald Trump. Then it jumps up to a 74% chance of him winning the Electoral College. Nate Silver goes on to, Kyle Kalinske pointed this out, nice system. If Biden wins the popular vote by 1%, he has just a 6% chance of winning the Electoral College. Nate Silver follows up by saying, you'll sometimes see people say stuff like Biden must win the popular vote by 3 points or he's toast. Not true. At 2 to 3 points, the Electoral College is a toss-up, not necessarily a Trump win. And Jordan, I completely agree with Jordan. I do not understand the people fussed at him underneath his tweet. But Jordan said, how is Biden winning the popular vote by 2 to 3 points in Electoral College toss-up if Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 2 points, 48.0 to 45.9, and got shellacked in the Electoral College? I have the same exact question. Maybe you guys have some comments in the chat about this. Maybe you have some insight to share. Go ahead and talk about that in the form of a super chat would be awesome. But I don't agree, like the framing that Nate Silver here has of saying that it's a toss-up if Biden's up by 2 to 3 points. I don't consider, 46% is close to 50%, but I don't consider that a toss-up. I think that's very, very generous language. So I find this really interesting. All of Twitter was talking about this today. And I think it goes to show you that our country is really, really screwed up. Our country is not a democracy. The Electoral College makes no sense at all, and it's probably going to get worse and worse and worse.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.